Being married to a narcissistic husband. My name is Paul Friedman. I founded the Marriage Foundation, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit. But, and there's a part of me that doesn't really want to say what I'm about to say, because there are some who are living with a narcissistic, not a narcissist, but someone who has those narcissistic tendencies. And it's tough. It really is. But it's tough for reasons that are different than from what you are probably experiencing. Because the definition of a narcissist clinically has been totally changed. So let's start with that. Because what I'm going to tell you later on in this video is going to be a more positive approach to what, if you wish, you can do for the purpose of improving your marriage, not just dealing with a narcissist husband. So clinically, it's a very interesting sort of thing. The narcissist personality is someone who is so withdrawn from reality that they have put out an image of themselves from which they can maneuver in the world without being impacted. And that's what a narcissist really is. It's not this idea that they just think so much of themselves. That's not what it is. Everyone thinks a lot of themselves. It's just that not everybody says so. There are some humble people out there, but not many. Most people are hiding behind a facade, because that's what the narcissistic personality actually is. What is happening for those of you who are actually living with someone like that, or just displaying some of those tendencies, is you're dealing with somebody who's not real. Basically, that's what it boils down to. And they're lying to you all the time. You never know what's really going on in their head. So, the truth is that that's true with most people. We truly don't really know what's going on in another's head. It's very private territory, as it should be. But if you are living with someone who has developed, let's put it that way, these tendencies, then I would suggest to you, without blame, that when you got married, instead of focusing on the things that you and he should have been focusing on, which is love and building happiness and creating a safe space for both of you, so that neither of you have to either be defensive or offensive with hiding things with lies and like that. Had you done that, then these tendencies would not have developed. They are, for most people, a reaction to an environment that is inhospitable. So what is necessary for you to do as a first step? And please don't imagine that I'm telling you you're at fault. But as a first step, you need to examine your own behaviors. So there is a rule of thumb. There's a rule of thumb. Question: how do you change another person? Answer: you cannot. It is literally impossible. You cannot. Can you force somebody to change? In some cases, you could get them to change their behavior by threatening them. You know, we do that with our kids. If you don't clean up your room, then I'm taking away your devices. Under the threat, your children will comply. But they haven't changed. They're still lazy. If a person is going to change, it's only going to be because they want to. Now, you are married to somebody who is displaying behaviors that's making you very unhappy, uncomfortable, and maybe you're even feeling insecure, maybe even threatened. I'm not saying threatened physically, but threatened. What do? The first step is you make sure that you are solid, that you are balanced, that you are loaded with integrity, compassion, love, the attributes of the heart. Why? Not as a reward, but just because that's how you're supposed to behave in a marriage. When you got married, you said, I am going to treat you like my king. I'm going to be loving. I'm going to be considerate, kind. We're going to enjoy sex. We're going to enjoy companionship. And instead, what happens is people become overfamiliar with each other, and they start downgrading their relationship to a material deal. I'll do it this way if you do it that way, blah, 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 with unbelievable levels of expectations of each other, but not of ourselves. So the reason it's like this is because we don't learn how to be married. The people who are supposed to be teaching us, and I know them because I've trained some of them, and most of them I reject for training. They're not trainable because they've bought into the Western psychology models of just deal with problems, just deal with problems. Instead of, with a marriage, feed the love, feed the happiness. Because that's why you get married. So now you're down the road. Your husband is displaying these tendencies. You need to stop interacting with those tendencies. Just stop interacting with them. So when he tells you a lie, I'll just call it for what it is. When he lies to you, don't challenge him. It isn't going to do any good. Instead, smile. Change the subject. Tell him you love him. You behave admirably. You don't behave like a narcissist. You don't behave like a defensive wife. You behave like an ideal wife. Because, and I'm not trying to say, what right do you have to get on him if you're not perfect? That's not what I'm saying. It isn't about you versus him. It's about you being the very best you. Now, there's a lot you can learn about marriage. Let's change the subject a little bit. I'll come back to this. There's a lot you can learn about marriage in a positive way by subscribing to this channel. That you should do. There's even more to learn about marriage by reading one of our books. The Marriage Foundation also has a free service where you could write in to one of our counselors. It's a free service, and get some advice. They will almost always direct you to the course for women, or a man would be directed to the course for men. Why? Because we haven't learned how to be married, that the path that we have taken on our own and with tidbits that we have picked up that have been mostly wrong, we have gotten ourselves stuck in ruts of behavior. And you need the course that we have to guide you out of the rut onto a positive path so that you can have, even with a narcissistic husband, which you call him, but he probably isn't, you can have an unbelievable marriage. Because if you're an ideal wife, and again, I'm not saying it's not your fault, you're not an ideal wife, therefore he gets to be an a-hole. No, that's not what I'm saying. It isn't like that. But don't you want to be happy? So in these courses, that's the first goal, is to get in touch with yourself. You cannot be happy if your mind is beating you up, which it is, in this case especially, because all of your defenses are coming to the fore and they are what's whipping you. Not your husband's behavior, but how your mind is translating his behavior into attacks on you. That's what it does because of the drive to survive. So here's a couple of things that you could do right now. You could stop your reactions. Just stop them and evaluate more objectively, what is he trying to say? Don't hold him accountable. Just try to understand what he's trying to say. Try to understand what his needs are. Not the needs that he's expressing, because he's not in touch with those any more than you are, frankly. Most people are not. Because we should never have an expectation that someone else is going to take care of our needs. We should expect of ourselves to take care of the needs of others to the extent that we're able to, but we should never expect someone else to take care of our needs. And so our happiness is dependent on our understanding of our own mind, so that we can control the emotions that tend to take us on these journeys of sorrow, control our inner reactions, which just create unbelievable levels of drama. And we need to learn these things. We should have learned this, honestly, in grade school. We should have learned how the mind works. Instead, we were fed, if we were unlucky, Psych 101, which comes up with all kinds of theoretical nonsense. Now you got to take the next step. Don't condemn your husband. Don't do that. It's not going to get you anywhere. Understand that a person who behaves the way your husband is behaving is in deep stuff. He's having problems. As a wife, it's not your job to point your finger at him and say, snap out of it. It's your job to relate to him on the level of love and ignore those things which you can, and in a practical way deal with the things that you have to, but without being accusatory and mean. Does this make sense? I hope you understand where I'm coming from. There's no blame here. There's no blame towards him. There's no blame towards you. It's all about living a better life so that your marriage can be what it's meant to be, filled with joy. Now you're going to ask me, can I get there from here? And I'm going to tell you, absolutely you can. Absolutely. Will he change? Probably not. But his behavior is not the cause of unhappiness. And that's the truth. Leave a comment. If you'd like, leave a question in the comments. And you can always write into our counselors and get a fair and truthful response. And I hope that you peruse our website, themarriagefoundation.org, and learn more about marriage. Thank you for spending time, and God bless. Take care.